Hello, you're listening to ReedyGeeks, a Walt Disney World podcast. My name is Andrew, and I'm joined today by historical context Sean.
Sure. Well, I don't even know what that is.
And listen, not all of them can be winners, right?
Most of them are.
And Ariel,
but some of them can be, right? Is that the
and aerial view connoisseur JJ.
Well, now that's a title. I feel seen and appreciated.
Is that Ariel like the mermaid?
Aww. In today's episode, we explore ideas that we believe Disney should revisit and bring back to Walt Disney World. Guys, I have historical context here.
What a surprise.
You have historical context for the silly list episode?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
I just know Sean loves this. That's why he's historical context Sean. So I had to make
it's in
it
his
for him.
name, so he has to enjoy this.
He has to enjoy it.
Disappointed but not surprised.
So Walt Disney World is constantly evolving. Lands change, attractions get reimagined, and entire experiences disappear to make room for what's next. But sometimes what's left behind had real potential, or still holds a place in guests' memories that newer offerings haven't quite replaced. In this episode, we're looking back at ideas, experiences, and even small details that Disney should consider bringing back, or at least reworking for today's parkgoers. Not everything needs a full revival, but some concepts are worth a second chance.
Yeah.
So let's throw it to JJ to bring up our first idea for what we believe Disney should bring back.
Okay, so some of mine in my ideas Disney should revisit, some of these, they're ideas that may not have happened yet, that they were ideas that Disney had that have been leaked or announced, and then they never ended up happening, and I think we should take another look at that. But other ones are stuff we've seen. So anyway, I'll get going.
They do say that a good idea never dies at Disney, right?
That's correct. So my first one is the Muppets Great Movie Ride. So it's actually two birds with one stone. It's bringing back the Great Movie Ride, and it's also inserting an idea that they had right next to the Great Movie Ride was supposed to be a Muppets Great Movie Ride, where it was almost the same ride, just everything was going wrong. And it was led by the Muppets instead of a tour guide and stuff. So I would love to see that actually happen.
You know, it's so funny. I thought I created this idea. Clearly, I didn't. But I thought I came up with that, and no, I didn't.
No. That's a real idea. But I guess it just goes to show if you're someone that thinks like, oh, why don't the parks have this? Why don't the parks have that? Like, the Imagineering team is also thinking the same things as we are.
Yeah, you're not the first person to think of these things, most likely.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
I think it's a good opportunity. Whether they do JJ's idea or not, they probably won't. But it's a good idea. It's a good time to think about how we can keep Muppets in the parks. With how they're kind of getting rid of Muppets Land as we know it. I mean, we know that they're going to move them. There's going to be a reimagined attraction with the Muppets, but why not give them something else? Because people love the Muppets. I think it's one of those really, like, I don't want to call it a cult fandom. Like some things at Disney have a cult fandom, but people that are our age and older that grew up with the Muppets love the Muppets.
Mm-hmm.
I also think the Muppets humor style works really well in a theme park setting.
Yeah.
I think the Muppets are funnier at a theme park than they are on TV or like on an everyday basis.
That's a good point.
Maybe your favorite comedy, like I don't think Anchorman the ride works, but a Muppets ride works.
Right. And I think the Muppets could really be placed anywhere. Like if you wanted to make Sunset Boulevard kind of like Muppets themed, like that works.
Well, it
Hollywood
works because that's like
Jim
how
Henson
the Muppets
Studios could be a little branch of Hollywood Boulevard.
But it's how the Muppets have gotten so, like they've made Muppet Treasure Island, Muppet Christmas Carol. Like they're taking the Muppets and putting them into existing things, so it's so easy to see the Muppets really fitting in anywhere in any land.
Right, because that's been the Muppets' whole MO. Even back earlier than the 90s Muppets that we grew up on, like Muppets Treasure Island, you talk about the Great Muppet Caper, where you're like, oh, okay, detective shows, Columbo's in. Well, let's do our own version of that and do the Muppets, the Great Caper.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting. Parody works really well in theme parks, and more Muppets is good.
It'd be cool to do, like I said before, like Sunset Boulevard Muppets. You could put them in Tower of Terror, Muppets Tower of Terror.
Well,
and then you have
I don't know if
Muppet
I want to
Show.
make the scary ride silly, but
yeah, that's true. That's a good
They
point.
kind of did that with Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, Mission Breakout is great, but it's not. It's nice to have a classic in Disney World, because so many things in Disneyland are like, this is the classic, this is the untouchable one.
Right.
I kind of feel like if Disney World has any untouchable classics, Tower of Terror might be that. Like, all the other ones might get overlaid globally, but this one might remain Tower of Terror.
Yeah.
How about a Muppets overlay of ReedyGeeks podcast?
Well, I think we'd probably get more listeners.
We definitely would.
We'd be out of a job quickly.
Oh gosh, maybe Bean could set off the fireworks.
So the first thing on my list here is I would like to see Disney bring back some sort of adults only, or bring back more adults only sounds. You gotta be careful how you say that. Adults only areas, lounges, bars, where we're finally seeing. It's huge that we're getting a bar in the Magic Kingdom. Like, we're not just getting a restaurant that serves alcohol while you're there. And now I don't necessarily think that you'll be able to leave the Beacon Barrel, which it's called at the Pirates of the Caribbean. You won't be able to leave it, just like I don't think you're able to take, even though you can drink and walk around Hollywood Studios, I don't think you can take drinks out of Oga's.
You can.
You can? Okay.
It's the rule there is it's a 2-drink maximum, but you can get a third if the last one's to go.
Got it. But I mean, I would imagine that won't be the case in the Magic Kingdom. I would imagine they'll still probably want to preserve a little bit of that, atmosphere. But the fact that we're getting a place that you can go and drink in the Magic Kingdom, I think shows that Disney is starting to open more up to the idea that there are adults that go to Disney World and they want to have their own kind of fun. And I don't think Disney will ever fully, it's like Disney's never going to fully pivot to condoning and actually supporting like drinking around the world. Like, they're never going to sell merch for it. They're never going to like advertise a drinking around the world deal or something. But like, the fact that they open up these like lavish and luxurious new bars and lounges and restaurants tells you they're on board
know what
with
you're doing.
They're on board with it. They want to make money from it. So I think it would be really cool to see. I mean, the three of us have never experienced the old version of Pleasure Island. Maybe our parents have, but maybe some older listeners to the show maybe have. But I would love to see an area of Disney Springs is fun. There's lots of places you can go out and have drinks. Most places are closed by 11:30. So you can't really there's really nowhere in Disney to have a night out unless your hotel lobby bar stays open later. Like I've been at, and it usually doesn't, because I think they're very heavily like regimented and regulated. But like, I've been at a pool bar at a resort that was supposed to close at midnight, but there's a lot of people there, so they stayed open till 12:30, 1 o'clock. But like, specifically a place where you can go out till 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning if you want to go to an actual bar, an actual club. I think that the time has come for that to be able to come back to Disney, and I don't know if it ever will be realized, but I think it would be very welcome to downtown Disney, Disney Springs.
I agree with everything you said, especially it would be so cool to have a Pleasure Island 2.0, but just nightlife in general. Like, if you leave the Magic Kingdom at 10 o'clock and you want to go back to your hotel and then get changed and maybe shower and then go grab a drink, and it's 10:55 and you have to like hustle to the hotel lobby to grab one drink and then the lobby bar is closed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not fun.
I'm a fan of a nightcap.
Yeah, most of the bars close at 11.
Right, a lot of the bars close at 11. Almost all of them.
I forget if it was when I was there in June or August. I was turned away from Disney Springs. Like, they wouldn't let me in because it was like, I think Disney Springs shuts down at midnight. So, and it was like 11:30, and the security guard was like, "Why?" Basically, was like, "Why are you here?" And I was like, "Well, I'm coming to get." He's like, "The bars close at midnight. Like, you know, it's last call at most of the bars." So he basically wouldn't let me into Disney Springs because I told him I'm here to get a drink, but it was closing, and it's like the security does last call as well.
Wow,
That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, that kind of leads into one of mine, which was the Adventures Club, and that was in Pleasure Island. And again, the three of us on this podcast have never experienced it before, but just knowing
my mom
the lore,
did. My mom went.
Oh yeah,
I asked her about it. I don't think she remembers anything.
Nice.
we should have her on the podcast and ask her about it.
Yeah, oh yeah, that'd be a great episode. So tell us everything about the Adventures Club. So I went in 1995. And I remember it like it was 30 years ago.
To people who don't know what the Adventures Club it was a multi-storied bar experience where each level and each room in different levels had different themes, and they had cast members that were playing parts that would pretend to be patrons and be sitting at the bar. And, you know, like one guy might have just come off of a safari. Another one was maybe going down, you know, the Amazon River and exploring the Amazon River. And they would tell you about their experiences. It was a little bit actually like the Star Wars Hotel that we've been hearing about, you know, where it's so interactive and the theming is just really immersive, right? And then each room had like different types of music, different things were happening in each room. It was really like a pretty cool society. Adventures. Do you remember the name, JJ? Is it the Adventures Society or Club Society?
The Society of Explorers and Adventurers, SEA.
Yeah, the Society for Explorers and Adventurers. I mean, just doing more with that intellectual property in general would be great.
Yeah, they do. Disney Sea, it's heavily featured there, and that's in Tokyo. That's their second gate.
Yeah.
It's really very glossed over in Walt Disney World. You know, Trader Sam's, Grog Grotto's probably, and the Jungle Cruise, and so then the Skipper Canteen. Like those three are probably the closest to like SEA that we have.
Yeah. It would be fun if like every resort had one SEA type of restaurant or lounge. You know, because all the resorts are so differently themed, right? The Wilderness Lodge, Animal Kingdom, Polynesian, Grand Floridian. Like you could have a different themed SEA like
experience,
bar.
Right?
Experience
you could count Trader Sam's as that for the Polynesian, right?
Right.
You know, that would be really cool. That would be a lot of work. To have each hotel, if each hotel had a Trader Sam's or each deluxe, maybe, you know, each like super of a mega theme, you know, it would be interesting. That'd be very interesting.
But in this idea too, like Disney put so many resources into this club, like to have that many cast members that are acting, you know, and I believe they're like acting cast members are paid differently, you know, and probably get paid more.
Yes, because they're
unionized and
it's a, you know, when you're playing a character, it's different. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
we're attempting to educate our listeners. I learned on this podcast today that Disney Sea, SEA, meant something. Yeah. I had no idea that that's what that meant. So I was like, wait a minute, what the hell are you guys talking about?
But it's also on the water in Tokyo.
That's why I was like, oh, it makes sense.
It's like a double.
Never questioned what it could possibly mean until I was like,
not a double entendre.
Hold on. What am I missing here? And I had to hit Google.
I think a double entendre doesn't have to be bawdy by nature. It could just be, you something that means two things. Right?
Good word there. I'm thinking, how is he going to get around saying?
It's a play on words. If it's not inappropriate, it's a double entendre. If it's inappropriate.
Oh, okay. So that there is a definitive line. Okay, so my next idea that Disney should revisit technically hasn't left yet, but it's on its way out. Dinosaurs in the parks. I think so many kids and adults love dinosaurs. And with the Dino Land, finally closing this year, they really should put something that references dinosaurs somewhere. It's just too popular of a concept and too popular of a thing in society. Like, dinosaurs are really cool. Like, it just feels like, yeah, I know they don't have Jurassic Park, but like they should be doing something with dinosaurs.
It is tough because Universal clearly has the better dino.
They've got the better dino IP, right? Like, no one's gonna care at all about the Good Dinosaur Ride.
Right.
And Harry Potter Land has dragons.
But maybe though, if it's more educational based, and
right. You mean like the energy pavilion that used to have dinosaurs in them?
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
That could be weird. Dinosaurs could be at a new energy pavilion too. Yeah, absolutely.
And so then it doesn't necessarily have to be like we have the cooler dinosaurs. Like, that's not the goal. The goal is to educate you, not to educate and entertain. Edutainment. No,
edutainment. Yep, that's right. Leave that engine.
I'll never actually know which is the right one because
you got a 50-50 chance. Just say it different each time.
Well, that's progress for you.
So after my thoughts about bringing back adults only bars, restaurants, if we're staying on maybe the topic of resorts and hotels, I wanted to see Disney focus a little more on this isn't necessarily revisiting, but it's maybe tuning the spotlight more to catering more to families and revisiting the idea of value resorts. I think that the value resorts, while they've been updated, like Pop Century is getting updates. I'm pretty sure Art of Animation has gotten some updates. I don't know the last time any of the All-Stars got any love and attention.
All-Stars got brand new rooms.
Do they really?
Yeah, so I went in 2020 to All-Stars, got pretty old rooms. But if you look at the pictures, they redid all the rooms since
that's good.
Since COVID. Maybe they did it during COVID. They just did a quick refresh. I don't know when they did it, but they did it.
Yeah, I just think with all the new like hotel and resort announcements are typically heavily, and it makes sense that they are, but they're heavily catered and focused towards DVC, and specifically people that just have a lot of money to go to Disney World. I think that your family of 5 or 6, unless they're members of DVC, are typically not left out, but it's like we have these 3 hotels for your big family on a budget, so figure out which one you want to stay at. And I think that leads people more and more to staying off site or staying at these vacation townhouse condo places, getting timeshare rentals. And Disney's whole thing, it's very obvious the last couple of years, they want to bring people back on property. They want to get people back, get people in their hotels, get people back in the bubble, in their ecosystem. And I think when a family of 5 or 6 is looking at the price of staying at All Stars or Pop Century and then sees the price of a very nice Airbnb in the area, it makes a lot of sense just to go to the Airbnb. So I think Disney should, it's not necessarily reinventing the value resort, but I think they should take a look at what their attendance looks like and how it could possibly make sense to maybe open another value resort. Just something that's not a $400 or $500 a night, a ticket for a hotel room, but to get people away. If you can get 30% of people away from Airbnbs back to site, I think that's huge.
And maybe they can do like their own type of value DVC in the sense that not necessarily you have to buy into it, but in the sense that you get 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, a 1 bedroom with a full kitchen, things like that. Almost like their own Airbnb, right? Like they can make like their own neighborhood and like they have like their own Airbnb houses on Disney property that's Disney controlled.
I wonder if getting into that market becomes a race to the bottom in terms of pricing, because if Disney comes out with condos that are the same price as those condos that you can rent, then those condos are just going to lower their prices. So you're going to have to give people something more,
right?
So that they feel like they're getting something for staying on Disney, because Disney's always going to be a little more expensive, because if Disney lowers their price, everyone else is going to lower their prices accordingly.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, I always was also like, there's like 5 or 6 hotels at Springs that are not Disney hotels. I was always so surprised that those exist. Like, why would Disney not take an opportunity to make that their thing? Like, I imagine Disney probably gets some sort of commission of their, but like, I don't know. It seems so weird to me that Disney would allow Marriott, would allow Hilton or Westin to, and instead of just doing their own thing.
Look at the Swan and Dolphin.
Right.
Those are Marriotts. Those aren't Disney hotels.
Yeah, are they both Marriott?
Transportation.
Or one is definitely Marriott.
Yeah, they're both Marriotts or Marriott brand. I don't know if one's considered a Sheraton or a Residence. I don't know what level of Marriott it's considered. But I think they're both the same. And then the new building there, the Reserve, is of one level up in terms of quality, like if you're a Marriott chain person.
Yeah, so that actually came out a deal. It was a deal between Disney and the company they used to do the physical construction work of Epcot. And so they didn't have to pay them as much. They allowed them to own and operate a resort, a hotel near Epcot. And then, when Eisner hated that deal and tried to push them out of it, but then they sold it off to Hilton. I mean, to Marriott, I believe.
Huh.
Yeah, and Marriott hired an architect that Mike Eisner was obsessed with.
Yeah,
the style is very unique on the exterior of those buildings, and that's because it's like this guy's like signature look, and Eisner was obsessed with it, and was like, I think a big reason why it went to Marriott was probably their willingness to use that architect to build the buildings.
Yeah, the company was Tishman Realty and Construction.
Wow,
interesting. You've stayed there, Andrew, right?
I have stayed there. Yeah, so it's very nice. It's as far as Marriott's concerned, I think it's like a tier 5. It's like one of their highest tiered hotels. So it's, if you're staying on points, it's like the most expensive to stay on points there. But they're always just slightly cheaper than the Boardwalk and Yacht and Beach Club. So kind of to JJ's point,
I think it's the best deal as far as like it's similar amenities to Boardwalk, but it's priced like Caribbean Beach or Port Orleans. I think it's the best. It's one of your better bang for your buck. I know maybe not for trading in points. I mean for paying cash.
And and on that, in that thought too, do you guys know the Wyndham Bonnet Creek?
Oh yes, that one keeps coming up. You know where I almost booked too? I saw next door to there, Hilton made a really nice thing with like a lazy river and stuff.
Yeah.
Is it called like the Sigma or something?
But that's by Springs, right?
It's next to Bonnet Creek. The Wyndham Bonnet Creek.
Yeah. Okay. So the Bonnet Creek land is the only land that the Disney company couldn't buy. The person that owned that land wouldn't sell it to them. So it's just land in the middle of Disney World that is not owned by Disney. And this guy on his deathbed in his will gave it to his kids, but stipulated that it cannot be sold to Disney. So they have Wyndham rents it out at Hilton to make and they're amazing. They're really good, like condo style.
Those are good family. They have a really cool swimming pool with a pirate ship and stuff. I think my sister and my brother-in-law stayed there one time.
And you can find great deals for them on Red Week. That's a website for timeshares.
If my memory is correct, I think that's exactly what they did.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, there's another resort that is like that I stayed at with Sam's family. It's like less kid forward and more just like what was the name of that? The Grove. That one's really good too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What a great sidetrack.
Yeah.
Here.
And Signia is the name of the Hilton in Bonnet Creek, and it looks really cool.
When you said Sigma, I was like, "There's no way corporations are getting into the lingo of Gen Alpha this quickly."
Oh no, I wasn't. No, that wasn't a reference to that. I thought it was a reference to Greek lettering.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, since we're still talking about resorts, I'll bring up an idea that I want to bring back, also having to do with resorts, and that would be resort-specific theming with storylines. So, just recently in our Mouse Madness, our last episode of Mouse Madness, I did a deep dive into Wilderness Lodge, because that's where. What's the bar called again?
Oh my God!
Really?
Sorry, Geyser Point.
And I think a deep dive is putting it mildly.
Yeah, we spent like 15, 20 minutes talking about.
People forgot what the point of the episode they were listening to was.
But there's just so much history and so much storyline having to do with the Wilderness Lodge, and I would like them to bring that type of depth into their new resorts. And I know it does have to do with the fact that their new resorts are primarily DVC resorts, and you don't need to create a storyline to get DVC members to buy more points.
You just need a good location and a nice room, and a bunch of people are willing to drop another $30,000
and a good lobby bar.
Yeah, this new resort that they're creating on Bay Lake. It used to be called Reflections. Now it's called a Lakeside
Lodge. Yeah.
It's not going to be well themed. It's gonna be beautiful. I know it's going to be beautiful, but it's not going to have a story. It's not going to be themed like how Disney used to do it, and how like what we come to expect from a Disney property,
or what made the Disney properties of the 90s and 2000s, well, and earlier, up until the late 2000s, what made them so popular and so cool is how hard they went in the paint for selling a theme.
Boys, watch your manners.
Yeah, if you can't say something nice.
Boys.
Okay, so the next thing on my list, I think it's a simple concept, and it's something that they've failed to do multiple times. And that is adding countries to the World Showcase.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that one.
It feels like it should be so much easier than it is. They've got the space. They planned on doing it. And then it's just hasn't happened for so long. Every couple years you hear a different one. Oh, Israel is coming. Oh, Brazil is coming. Spain is coming. Yeah. I mean, Spain, they had a ride and a movie. It was all going to be synergy. The movie got canned, and all of a sudden, the spot that they had for Spain, where that ride building was supposed to be, they just gave it to France, and it's Ratatouille now.
What was the movie?
Oh, it was going to be a Jack and the Beanstalk movie, and the ride was going to be you being little, going into the giant's lair, and everything was going to be big. So it was also the Ratatouille ride.
We got Remy instead of that?
Yeah, we got Remy instead of that.
What a disappointment. No, I mean, I agree. I love the World Showcase. It's my favorite place in Disney World. And people have done these land surveys and done aerial shots, there's room in the World Showcase for at least 2 or 3. You could probably squeeze a 4th in if you want to make it small, but there's room for 2 or 3 new pavilions. And you got to wonder why they haven't. I mean, I would think that maybe trying to keep tabs on like world politics might, lean them one way or the other on certain areas being brought into the World Showcase. But I love the idea of Spain. Greece seems like an absolute no-brainer.
I mean, they already have the IP
Hercules.
for Greece.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I personally would always like to see a little more representation for Ireland, but I don't think that'll probably not happen. But it seems like I said, such an easy thing to do. Why haven't they done it?
They want to do more like fantasy lands. They want to do lands that take you to a completely made up
Alternate
world.
universes.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, yes, but everything is about money. So you got to think opening up a new land in a park. People are not necessarily. I mean, people are paying money to enter the park. When Cars Land opens, people aren't going to pay more money to visit Cars Land. They're just going to pay the Magic Kingdom, but maybe it'll drive more people to the Magic Kingdom. Whereas opening up a new pavilion in Epcot that basically is just a bar and a restaurant, most likely, maybe won't drive the numbers to Epcot the way Villains Land will to
It has to open with a ride. If you're gonna build one of these countries, it's got to come with a ride. Otherwise, no one new is showing up except for us.
Yeah.
We're going to be the ones that are excited. So, I can't wait to go to Epcot and have a 12th country.
But to your point, though, about it's going to have a bar, restaurant, and merchandise and things like that, it kind of pays for itself after a while.
That was
right?
kind of my point. That you would think that it would be a more financially, like it would like the return on investment would hit so much faster than
a large land,
a new land that cost what $5 billion to build, Villains Land, as opposed to, I don't know, the price of expanding.
Yeah.
A pavilion's got to be a tenth of that. And if it's a ride, let's add 100 million to it just to be safe. So let's say it's 200 million to build a pavilion as opposed to
$1 billion.
$1 billion, $2 billion to build a land the way that they're building lands with that level of theming.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you do a new country, you don't have to compete with Universal on. It's not like people are going to be looking at it saying like, "Oh, Epic Universe did this better," because it's literally you're just creating the country that already exists, right?
Right, and you're theming it to the World Showcase, so it's just got to fit. Honestly, it has to fit in with what they have already. Like they can't go extra hard and then make the rest of the World Showcase look rinky-dink.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Which I think they did They did it recently with France. That France expansion. It doesn't feel like a different place compared to the rest of the French pavilion.
Yeah. It seems like it's low hanging fruit for Disney, and I agree, Sean. I don't know why they don't do it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
Well, in staying in parks, again, this is something I've never done before, but I know they used to do it. 24-hour park days where you could stay in the park for 24 hours.
24 glorious hours.
Or just like, I mean, would you spend 24 full hours in the park?
Oh, I would do it as like a challenge.
Yeah.
I'll go with you.
Yeah. And like, people would do it. All the streamers would be there.
Yeah.
And,
Now, will they kick me off of the Carousel of Progress if I end up falling asleep on the Carousel?
Yeah, you can't sleep.
Let me go.
Sleep.
That's a good point.
How many times around the People Mover while I take a 6-hour nap without leaving the park?
Yeah, on 24-hour park days, were you allowed to like take a nap anywhere, like on a park bench,
so.
or
like if you're sleeping on a bench? I think they're elbowing you.
Or you lay down on the green.
I wouldn't say that they're specifically. I don't think they're specifically against sleeping, but yeah, I don't think they're going to let you sprawl out and bring a blanket and lay on the green space in the hub.
Yeah.
You go to first aid. I have a headache. Oh yeah, you can just hang out over here, and you just pull out a pillow.
So I'm also going to sneak in here another one of my bring back, and that's going to be Magic Bands, doing more with Magic Bands, and it seems like they are kind of going away from utilizing Magic Bands or making them necessary.
Yeah, I was going to say they're not
really
shying
not
away from them, but they're completely unnecessary.
Yeah,
and I would say that the Magic Band Plus is not an upgrade over the original Magic Band. For me,
no, it's really not.
Actually, sorry, Magic Band 2, because what I think of as the original Magic Band is actually the second version of the Magic Band.
Yes, true.
So there is no improvement over, except now you have to charge it all the time and whatever. Like,
but it also seems like it's just a moneymaker for them. Like if they could make you have to use Magic Bands, I think people would appreciate not being on their phone. And I don't know, like maybe make some type of game in the park where you have to collect this amount of items using your Magic Band. Similar to what you have to do now at Epic Universe for Mario, Nintendo World.
Oh yeah, those power bands, right?
Yeah.
So it's an interesting thought because I used to really love the Magic Bands, but this was also before I would wear the Magic Band, but this was before I had any other wearable technology. I have an Apple Watch now. I used to have a Fitbit. For me, I stopped wearing the Magic Band because it felt there was no function that it served that I couldn't also, like that was also back when you were getting the physical room key card, like the Kingdom Key, whatever they would call it. That was your hotel, right? Your hotel room key. That was your charge card. That was your theme park admission ticket. So like the Magic Band just seemed like I don't like having double wrist coverage. So I just stopped.
I double wristed all the time.
I just stopped wearing the Magic Band.
On Etsy, they sell little puck holders that you can just clip to your Apple Watch band. That's what Sam does.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
because I used to love the Magic Bands. They were fun. It was just a way to not have to be digging into your phone for your key. It's just they had different colors and you could decorate them.
And I just felt like you knew you were on vacation when you're wearing it, right? Like you're in Disney World wearing this thing, and it's so specific to Disney World. Nowhere, no other park has something like this or had something like that. It was very unique, and I kind of like it. I double wrist all the time. Oh. I got my left hand is my Apple Watch, my right hand is my Magic Band.
Your Magic Band, are you still using any old Magic Bands, or are they all the pluses now?
No, I only have one plus, and I just bought it this year. So I have always been using my OG Magic Bands. I mean, my first one I ever got from 2018 still works. So
yeah,
that's a good sign. I think I'm gonna pull out mine, my Magic Bands for my trip.
Yeah. I think the biggest issue with the Magic Bands is they used to just give them away. It made no money. It made no money for them. And I think you could buy them. You could spend $25-$30 on them. And they had specific park specific or resort specific Magic Bands. But when you're giving them away for free, there was no incentive whatsoever to buy them. So I think that's one of the major, I don't know, but I think that would be one of the major reasons why they just kind of fell off the face of the earth, was because they were spending so much money creating them and just putting them in boxes and sending them to people before they come to Disney World.
But now they don't do that, and I'm okay with that. Actually, I don't need a free Magic Band every time we go. It's kind of wasteful. To have all these Magic Bands. I have like 15 of them. You know what I mean? Like that's enough. And they were always like the basic colors. If you wanted something with a character on it, you had to pay extra for that anyway. But so like they don't have to bring back the free aspect of the Magic Band. I just want them to like, I don't know, make me want to wear one.
Justify your position to double wrist.
Yeah, because you're wearing it now. You're okay with it basically serving no function. It's just an accessory that you're wearing.
Well, I'll tell you, there's a lot of problems with lightning lanes when people are trying to like with their phone get do their lightning lane or their park tickets. Like
Creates traffic jams.
Still easier than using your phone.
I'm surprised they haven't gotten a little better with the NFC, using the NFC technology on the phone to work on the lock screen, or maybe syncing to someone's Apple Watch, like
you can put your park ticket
band
in your wallet, and then it comes up as if you were going to Apple Pay. That's how I get into the parks. I just bring the ticket.
Yes,
up
I did that. I did that for my bachelor party. I didn't wear a Magic Band.
Magic Mobile. It is pretty good, and now they have on the newer iPhones. You have like live updates on your lock screen.
On the lock screen, I love that.
Yeah, it is good, and Disney is starting to do some of that too. Yeah.
So they're helping fix the problems that they created. Do you guys want to stay in the park? Well, all of mine are in the parks.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll stay in the parks.
Okay. You stay in the parks.
And my next point here is it's very simple. Well, it's probably not very simple in terms of rolling it out, but I miss physical paper fast passes. I have never been a big fan of having to book things on the phone, and you miss a certain time window. You have to do this. You have to be in the right place at the right time. And I miss being able to grab a fast pass on the go, on demand. And I wish that they're never going to get rid of Lightning Lane, or they're never going to stop building on that that concept. Whether it stays Lightning Lane forever, it'll change. I'm sure it'll evolve. But I miss being able to just grab a paper fast pass or grab something on demand in the park. And I think there's a way to do it without completely getting rid of the technology on the phones. I think like if there were a time of the day when a certain ride, where they were going to forecast maybe a slower day for that ride, maybe it's kind of like, on the day of a show when, venues will drop, we have 500 extra tickets, for today's show. We have 150 fast passes for, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
Yeah, this is a great idea.
Get them now. They're good for maybe they're not good for any time of the day, but like we've got 150 fast passes. They can be acquired at the ride. First come, first serve. I just miss being able to just on your way past something, grab a fast pass to come back later. I don't want to say I hate, but I just always having to be nose in the phone booking my vacation is never that
they do
much fun.
Have drops, like they drop fast passes or lightning lanes on the day all the time, because they do hold back a lot in case there's significant downtime, or it doesn't open on with the rest of the park, or they're just going slower in general one day. So when they see that, okay, this is a normal day, we have extra fast passes that we can drop here. I think that's a great idea, that you have to be at the ride in order to get that drop.
I love the Darwinism of if you want a fast pass, you have to be here for it.
Yeah.
That is something that I feel like helped keep the lines in check, is because you had to physically be there. You couldn't just it wasn't just like, okay, I'm going to stack like 6 fast passes and then I'm going to show up at 2 p.m. and just use them all. There's none of that. Like, you can manipulate this current Lightning Lane system and just stack a ton of fast passes. Because when your fast pass window expires, you can check in like an hour and a half after that window closes, and they just let you on. So your hour window is really like a 3-hour window.
Right.
So if you can use that, and like you can stack like 5-6 rides all from just sitting at home. You just, okay, push this one. And then all of a sudden you have a bunch of fast passes, and you can just boom, 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 and knock them all out like between 3 and 4 p.m.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a weird system. And I much prefer when it was like, okay, I got my fast pass. Now it's time to book another one. And I think you can use your phone if you're scanned into the park. Like if you have an active park ticket, which is how Disneyland operated, where you could use a paper fast pass or your phone. And the phone was a paid thing, and the physical fast pass was a freebie walk around thing.
Yeah. I think you can make it. I think you can make both things happen. I don't know that they ever will.
Yeah.
But
it makes too much money.
Yeah, that's true.
As someone who is about to go and did some math about this that I'll share on my trip takeaways episode. I'm not going to bore everyone right now with it. But yeah, I mean, you make it decent. They're making a lot extra.
Yeah. Well, staying in the parks, my next suggestion is more park original intellectual property. So
more Duffies.
Something I'm thinking of is like,
I said more Duffies.
More Duffies. Hey, listen. Yeah, Duffy.
Stop trying to make it happen.
Or, an example would be Duffy or Figment, or they used to have Citizens of Main Street, where you had people just like walking around the park that were again similar to my idea about the Adventures Club. They're just face characters that are living in Main Street, and they just walk around the park talking to you. Like that's really cool.
But so many of the old school attractions have those characters in them. Trader Sam. You've got a lot of the Pirates of the Caribbean before Jack Sparrow took over.
That's true. The redhead.
Right. Well, Red is new. Is a new old IP. Right.
Oh yeah.
Red, because Red is the female pirate. They took a sexist thing and they gave it a female pirate instead.
Or the hitchhiking ghosts.
Right. All the ghosts. A lot of those ghosts have names and stuff.
Yeah. More of that. Not every ride needs to be attached to an IP that is from a movie. I think they could make their own IP, park specific IP,
or do IP how they always used to do IP, and that would be like to make their own story based on a classic tale, or take a fable or something and turn it into a Disney's own thing, Disney's story.
Right.
Yeah, I really like that. My next one, I think this one's going to be short. It's my second to last one. Is going to be they talk about that Mary Poppins ride in the UK and making Cherry Lane or whatever, and I think it's such a good idea. I heard what the attraction was, and that wasn't a good idea. But I think Mary Poppins in a UK pavilion is a good idea.
Can you still meet her, or did they go get rid of that entirely?
I haven't seen her in a while, but I think she's
even know
still...
you were able to.
I definitely have seen Mary Poppins in the 2010s for sure.
Yeah,
I saw Mary Poppins.
She had her own spot. Oh, it was over by where that little. I think if I'm remembering this correctly, it was over by where the stage was in the UK area that sometimes has the bands playing. It was kind of
in between the street and the stage. Yeah,
there was I thought, and with how popular the Mr. Banks movie was, you would think that maybe they would have taken.
Well, that's where this came
as
from.
An opportunity.
I think. Because this was supposed to be with also the refurb of Spaceship Earth that didn't happen. Those were the two things that got cut from the round of Epcot that we got. But I mean, I'd rather have Guardians than those two things anyway. So who cares?
How did Lin-Manuel Miranda's Mary Poppins do? The one that he was in?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't watched it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either.
But I'm not like,
what are you talking
Disney
about?
Lin-Manuel Miranda and was it Emily Blunt, right? Mm-hmm. They have a Mary Poppins movie.
Wasn't it like Snow White Returns or something like that?
Yes, it was Mary Poppins Returns, right? And Lin-Manuel Miranda was Bert, and
right.
Emily Blunt was Mary Poppins. Yes.
Yeah, okay. That's vaguely coming back into my mind.
Yeah.
So my last one that I have here, and we don't have to talk about it too in depth because we've talked about it a lot, but in the past is Magical Express. I think that just has to be mentioned in any conversation of like things Disney should bring back. It just seems like a no-brainer to give people a reason to stay on property and not rent a car, right? Because every family that goes down to Disney now has to really rent a car in order to get the car seats and.
Well, right, and that's a kind of a big thing that like we're talking about, like how my sister when she goes down, she's like, I don't want to have to bring car seats, so we're not renting a car. They're just gonna get a.
Or you could rent the cars.
Right, but it's all the these extra expenses. They're just gonna take a couple Ubers. But I thought that I could be completely wrong here. I thought that was something that was eventually. It was just about a contract. The Mears contract ran out. And I think the reason the Magical Express, and again, this is fact, someone fact check me and email us if I'm wrong here, but I thought the main reason that the Magical Express ended was because the Mears bus contract expired and they had thought that they would use the Brightline Railroad as the new way to get people from MCO to Disney World, but that never came to be. The railroad never ended up going to Disney World, or it just hasn't yet. And that just kind of squashed transportation from MCO to Disney World.
Yes, I think you're right. I think they killed the bus thing too early because they were thinking that the railroad thing would be moving faster.
I think they canceled that though a while ago. That it was never actually going to come to Disney Springs. And even if it does come to Disney Springs, like that doesn't help that much. Then you take the Bright Line there, and then now you have to get on another bus.
Get on a secondary.
Yeah.
You either get on a bus.
Right. You get on a train and then you get on a bus once you're on Disney property.
Yeah. Right. And you got all your suitcases and everything. And I don't know. It's I never really saw that as working out very well. And also it's still expensive too to take that Bright Line. That's not a cheap.
Well, I think in order to bring back the Magical Express, I don't think you'd be able to bring back the Magical Express without also bringing back like the luggage check system. I think which
they're starting back up.
They are.
They're starting some of that. Yes,
that has to go hand in hand with the buses because it was just so convenient for people to put those. You get those tags with your pre-Disney vacation mailings. You get your luggage tags, so you give your luggage away at your airport in New York, and you see your bags again when you get to Florida. Maybe that's a sign that the bus service is eventually going to start up again as well.
That would be great.
They still give you luggage tags. I just got them.
Do they?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I love that idea.
Okay, so my last one is another idea that never ended up happening, but I think they have more ammunition now to actually make it happen in a really cool way. I'd love to see Beastly Kingdom. I don't know where it technically fits in the scope of these 4 parks, but maybe that's not important. It's a good idea and should happen at some point, is Beastly Kingdom. So that's like mythical creature celebration. They now have the IP to blend in to pull this off where it could like maybe make sense for Disney to pull the trigger on it, because they have Onward, which is all mythical creatures. They've got Hercules, of course, which they had before that. But now they also have the Percy Jackson stuff. And there's some very interesting stuff. The first season of it on Disney Plus was so good. And I would love to see that eventually come to the parks, whether that's through a Grease Pavilion, like I already suggested, or through integrating some sort of battle with a mythical beast, where you are maybe paired with Percy Jackson to save the day. Like, I would love something like that.
Yeah, that Percy Jackson is something that they're totally missing on. Like,
it's their Harry Potter. It really is.
Yeah. And it's something that, they're always talking about creating IP that is more boy forward, right? Because they have the princesses dominate the girl market.
And they're getting rid of dinosaurs.
They're getting rid of dinosaurs. And yes, cars, is something that's...
Well, they're adding cars. Yeah.
Right. But Percy Jackson would be a great product or a great IP to bring into the parks. And actually, I just did a quick Google search to see if there is any Percy Jackson in theme parks in general. And I was thinking, like, maybe just because they put it on Disney Plus doesn't necessarily mean they have the rights to put it in theme parks.
Oh, right.
Similar to all the Marvel characters, they can't put all of them in theme parks.
Oh, well, that's different. I think that's different. That's
different,
park,
but
right.
So maybe the theme parks was sold off to someone else, but I don't think it is.
I think Animal Kingdom's a no-brainer for Beastly Kingdom. I don't know how soon.
I mean, there is a dragon in the logo.
That's what I was just going to say. I think that's where the idea for Beastly. I get this. Beastly Kingdom is not an original idea on this podcast. It's one of those, like, Villains Land was a fan fiction for so long, and now it's finally a thing. Like the original logo for Animal Kingdom
was a real idea.
Has a dragon right on the logo. So I think it would be a no-brainer to expand Animal Kingdom eventually and put that in there. I don't know how soon or if or when that would happen. I feel like we're going to see the end of park expansions for a little while once all this stuff is done. But you never know.
Not unless they feel like they have to. They feel like they have to. They're going to do stuff, and you'll see more stuff coming. This is a different, totally off-topic question. Do you want them to make each of these parks a full day experience before we hear about a fifth gate, or do you want a fifth gate?
I don't think we will ever see a fifth gate. I think they're going to keep expanding the existing parks.
The 4 parks we have?
Yeah, I don't think in our lifetime we will see a fifth official, like, when you say fifth park, you have 2 water parks, but I don't think you will see a fifth brand new park at Walt Disney World in our lifetime. I just don't think there's...
I kind of agree.
I don't want to say there's no need for it, but I think they'll always be able to figure out where to... I don't want to... Disney definitely shoehorns stuff for the sake of it, but they'll always be able to find a home for their idea in one of the existing parks. They're constantly buying land, and whether that's for just preservation, or Disney is constantly buying up new land around the resort. So I'm sure the ideas for things are far down the line than we'll ever know about, but they know what they're going to do 10 years from now, I'm sure. But I don't think we will ever see the fifth park. And I think we've had this conversation that eventually it gets to a point where I think a fifth park is almost a detriment to Disney World, because you're not getting people to stay. They're not going to turn their already expensive 5-day trip into an 8-day trip now to make room to go to the other park for 2 days. They're just going to say, okay, well, this is the trip. We just don't go to Animal Kingdom and we go to this new park. So it's like, you're not, I don't think it makes as much financial sense. But
this is what I was going to bring up.
Especially when there's so much to fix. There's so much to fix at Animal Kingdom and Hollywood Studios. And even as much as I love Epcot, all of these parks, you could add 3 rides to just off the top of your head. You just go, okay, let's just add, if you added 3 rides to each of those parks on top of everything that's coming, that's been announced, then you'd feel like, okay, are we here yet where we're at, where those are as busy of a day as Magic Kingdom is? Once Magic Kingdom has Villains Land? No. They're still behind.
I also think, I don't know, I think full day is something a full day park versus not a full day park. I think depends on how you it depends on how you do your day. Opinion. Right, exactly. I think like people could consider Magic Kingdom a half day park because they don't have kids and they want to go on 3 or 4 rides, get a Dole Whip and call it a day, whereas they might spend a full day or more at Hollywood Studios because of the Star Wars stuff and the rides and everything, and a full day park at Epcot.
And the bars, they go, I'm going to get a drink here, and then
whether something is a half day park or a full day park is just, it's, glass half empty, glass half full. It's your how you are going to spend your time at Disney World.
It's in the eyes of the beholder.
There you go.
Of course. But I do think that a lot of these parks, especially Hollywood Studios, it was designed, they went full bore into this becoming a ride park as opposed to, a simulation of a Hollywood studio as it was when it originally opened. And since it's going to be the ride park, there's not near enough rides there because all the rides have really long lines at Hollywood because there's just not enough rides.
Well, and just having gone in April, we planned on Hollywood Studios being a half-day park, and then we were going to go to Springs afterwards. But to be honest, we ended up spending up until like 6-7 o'clock in Hollywood, and we could have stayed there longer. Like there was still more to do. So I always thought that it was like, how could you spend that long in Hollywood Studios? But we didn't wait on any lines because we nailed it with lightning lanes.
Yeah.
But yet we always still had something to do. And then you have Fantasmic at the end. People might want to stay for. You stop for dinner. I can definitely see Hollywood Studios is a full day park. But the one thing I wanted to say that Sean kind of touched upon is your trip. Some people take like a 5-day trip, like you said, but like the typical vacation time that you get in America is like 1 to 2 weeks, right? And so you're not going to get too many people to spend more than a week down in Disney. And I feel like if they do add a 5th park, they're going to be cannibalizing on some other offerings that they have at the resorts,
absolutely,
or at Disney Springs. And I'd rather keep those. I'd rather keep the resort offerings and Disney Springs, constantly updating Disney Springs. I'm really excited for that new experience that's coming in Disney Springs. That's taking over
not
Disney
an escape room. It's like New Disney Quest or something. Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Was it level 99?
Level 99.
Something like that. Yeah. That's where the old NBA experience was.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that supposed to be like a video game reference? Like you're on level 99, like your own, it's like
I thought level 99 was the company that's making it, or is that?
Yeah.
Is that what
it is a company. It's like it's kind of a chain thing. Like they have this level 99 thing exists in other places.
Yeah,
and I mean Disney Springs is
places.
Anyway, so it makes sense that it's coming to Disney Springs and not in one of the parks.
Yeah.
Where did it start, Andrew?
Rhode Island, which is like, to me, doesn't seem, I was expecting like Vegas or, something, something tourist destination, which
ReedyGeeks road trip. Rhode Island's not that far.
Rhode Island's closer than Florida.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea.
We'll go to level 99 and we'll go to the casino.
Is there a casino in Rhode Island?
Mohegan Sun and Foxwoods is like right on that Connecticut Rhode Island border.
Yeah.
I love it.
I think I'll take one of those newfangled trolleys down to the drugstore soda fountain and meet the boys for a cold sarsaparilla.
Okay. I think these are some really great ideas that Bob should get to work on. Do you think we got time to play a little game now?
I think we went a little over time.
I think we spoke too long.
Yeah. Ooh. But we should definitely do a game next week.
Yeah? I predict that we will.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Sean, why don't you take us out?
Thanks for listening to another episode of the ReedyGeeks podcast. Like, rate, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Any questions, comments, concerns, future titles, or topics, email us at reidygeeks@gmail.com and check us out on all our socials at ReedyGeeks. We'll see you next time.
You know what idea you guys should revisit? Not doing this podcast.
This week's Honest Send-Off comes courtesy of Tom from Long Island. If you have an honest send-off that you want played at the end of one of our episodes, please submit an audio clip to us via our email address, reidygeeks@gmail.com. ReedyGeeks, a Walt Disney World podcast, is hosted and executive produced by Andrew Shopey, Sean Murphy, and JJ Hefner. Music and audio engineering by JJ Hefner.
Bon voyage!